Hey guys, so we're on the porch. It's nice and dark. Got the candles going and the little bulbs above, and I want to talk about one of the most misunderstood herbs in your medicinal garden, echinacea. Now, if I say the word echinacea, many people just automatically jump to immune support. And while that's certainly part of the story, it's really only a small part of what makes this plant so special. So tonight, let's sit out here and we're going to cover why herbalists use it, what part of the plants are medicinal, what part lose their potency, a little history about the plant, can you grow it in containers, and why I think every herbalist should consider making room for this in their garden. So, can we just take a moment to appreciate how beautiful this plant is? Before we even talk about medicine, echinacea earns its place in the garden. Bees love it, butterflies love it, and goldfinches love to eat the seed heads. And honestly, I love looking at it. Some medicinal herbs are all function, no beauty. Echinacea, functional and beautiful. One of the reasons I wanted to make this video was because echinacea, it just gets put into that small box. People hear the name and think that's what you take when you get sick. And while that's true, herbalists have traditionally viewed echinacea as much more than that. It's one of those herbs that has earned a permanent place in my herbal toolkit because of, well, how versatile it is. Okay, so if echinacea is more than an immuno herb, right, what exactly are we using for? Well, this is where things get interesting, right? Traditionally, echinacea has been considered a plant that supports the body's natural defense systems. Think of it less like a magic bullet and more like a supportive partner that encourages the body's own processes, right? So echinacea is best known for supporting a healthy immune response. Many herbalists keep it on hand and often reach for it when they feel like they're coming down with something or during seasonal stress or if you're going to travel on an airplane. Another reason herbalists appreciate echinacea is its traditional use in supporting the lymphatic system. Now, the lymphatic system, as we know, is often described as your body's drainage system, right? Your cleanup network, your sludge removal. When herbalists talk about lymphatic support, echinacea frequently enters the conversation on how it can be used. Mouth and throat support is also another benefactor of it, and we're going to focus on the point later when we talk about the roots, but echinacea has a unique tingling sensation when you use it. And because of that characteristic, right, it has a long history of use for the preparation for mouth and throat support, right? It kind of gives you that tingling, numbing sensation. Echinacea has also been used internally and externally for tissue support. Historically, herbalists incorporate it, right, into preparations intended for healthy tissue and overall wellness. There's also, for me personally, one of the herbs I simply just like having in my apothecary, and not because I use it every day, and this is not an herb you want to use every day. Please understand that. But because it's one of those foundational herbs that proves itself time and time again. So, what parts of the plant can we use? So that's one of my favorite things about echinacea, is unlike some herbs where only one part is useful, echinacea gives us plenty of options. So, let's start at the top. The flowers are beautiful, medicinal, and commonly used in tinctures and tea blends. Most people recognize this part of the plant easily, and if you drive down the roads in the Ozarks, it's freaking everywhere. It should be our state flower. So the leaves can also be used. Many herbalists include them when making fresh plant tinctures, right? So again, another fresh plant tincture. You don't have to wait for it to dry. Now, let's talk about the roots. This is where a lot of herbalists and myself get excited because they're fun. And they're fun because the roots are traditionally considered the most prized medicinal portion of the plant. In fact, Many herbalists specifically grow echinacea with the intention of eventually harvesting the mature roots. Note the keyword mature, so we're going to have to go a few seasons. So the really cool part about it is if you've ever tasted the echinacea root, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. But you'll get this tingling, buzzing, almost electric sensation in your mouth. And the first time someone experiences it, you can almost see the panic on their face because they're worried they're having an allergic reaction. And they're like, is this normal? And we usually laugh and say, yeah, that's very normal. But it's a very unique characteristic to echinacea, not the only herb that causes this, but traditionally, herbalists have viewed that tingle sensation as a sign of a quality preparation. So if you're trying herbs and there's no tingle, it's probably not a good tincture. So this is something I think everybody should understand. Plants don't stop changing just because you harvest them. Fresh roots contain compounds that begin to change right after harvest, and within 48 hours, you can see a significant drop in the potency. That's one reason why many herbalists prefer making tinctures from freshly dug roots whenever possible. The flowers are similar. Beautiful blooms are always best to harvest when they're vibrant and full. You don't want to wait too long because they can actually start to lose some of the quality. So this is one of the reasons why I always encourage people to process herbs as quickly as possible. If you're growing them in a pot, you just pick your pot up and take it to your kitchen. So that's kind of cool too. This helps you get closer, right, from the garden to preparation. The less time it sits around, the more potent it's going to be. So let's talk a little history. And I'm not a history major, but I do enjoy some good history. Echinacea has a very fascinating story in this country. So around the 1800s, early 1900s, echinacea had become America's most popular medicinal herb. Go back and check the books. Before antibiotics existed, physicians and herbal practitioners used it extensively. It became one of the most widely recognized herbs in this country. Then, of course, the pharmaceuticals came along and took center stage, and echinacea faded to the background. But with the return of an interest in the herbal practices, echinacea is having her comeback. And she's actually one of the most widely sold herbs now. So one reason I love echinacea is because it doesn't require constant attention. It's resilient. It's drought tolerant once established. And it's dependable. And honestly, I appreciate dependability in my plants and the people around me. So this isn't a plant that's going to fall apart if you miss watering by a few hours. She'll hold herself together. She's quite calm. So, can we grow it in a container? Obviously we can. So if you're renting or live in an apartment and just want to have a couple herbs, this one's going to do you well in a container garden. A lot of people think herbal gardens require a lot of acreage, and this isn't the truth. Echinacea can grow beautifully in a container. My recommendation is use a large pot. If you have to, you can stair step up until you get to a decent size. The bigger the pot, the better it's going to be. Give it full sun and use well-draining soil, and don't let the roots stay too wet. If you're building a medicinal container garden like me, echinacea is going to deserve some consideration. So let's talk about the friends of echinacea. Another reason I grow echinacea is because everybody benefits. I benefit, the bees benefit, butterflies benefit, the birds benefit. So it's one plant that can support the ecosystem around me, and I do move these plants off the porch out into the sun during the day so they can get pollinated. But this is one of the reasons I love medicinal gardening so much, is you can do these things with it. You're not like boxed in. So how do I use echinacea? I personally like having it available in multiple forms, right? So I might have tinctures on hand. I might have some echinacea tea available. I might have an echinacea infused oil, which usually with my oil infusions, I like to use dry herbs. I found that some of the best herbs are the ones that move easily from my container garden to my apothecary. So let's talk safety. Not the fun parts, but we have to discuss safety, right? So whenever you talk about herbs, you have to talk about safety, right? Because everybody thinks they're so safe. Echinacea does have a long history of traditional use and generally is considered a safe herb, but every person is different. So like all other herbs, if you're starting out with this one, start slow, monitor how your body is behaving. And for those who have allergies and sensitivities to anything in the daisy family, you're going to want to pay attention when you use this as well. And as always, if you're pregnant, nursing, taking medications, have medical conditions, or just want general information, consult a healthcare professional to make sure it's not going to interact with anything. So in closing, if someone asks me why I grow echinacea, my answer is not going to be simple, as you can see. It's beautiful. It's useful. Pollinators love it. It's easy to grow. It works well in a container. And for a girl who changes her mind, that's beneficial. It's earned a place in my herbal garden for years to come, whatever that herbal garden looks like. So if you're looking to grow echinacea this year, have had echinacea for years, drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Are you growing it for the flowers, for the pollinators, for medicine, maybe all three? I'd love to hear your stories below. I'm always looking for new ideas. But thanks, guys, for stopping by. And until next time, grace, peace, happy growing.